We popping open a bottle of Alabama football bubbly. Let's go. Number one show on the streets, hottest form for Bama football on a Wednesday hump day. Yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Welcome in my own words. Bringing you the show from the Magic City of Birmingham, streaming you the show on YouTube. Speaking of the channel, if you haven't done so yet, go ahead and subscribe. Have friends subscribe. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that like button there. Hit that subscribe button. Turn all of those notifications on. Hit that little bell also, so that way you can get all of your news, notes, alerts, information, entertainment on your favorite program, that being the Crimson Tide. Got you covered also on Facebook and Twitter as well. We got a jam-packed show on this evening. No guests, just me, but still a lot of fun, a lot of talking points, a lot of conversation, and we want to hear from you tonight. Ring those phone lines, blow them up. 205-448-1358. Number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show. 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. My man Jimmy Cashman, Jimmy Badman Clay, has already handled the daily Super Chat Go by himself and then some. He two-stepped in here with that 100-piece, that Ben Franklin, that $100 in the Super Chats. Appreciate the love there from Jimmy Clay. And we got another $100 in there. Who is this one from, John Ira? Is that from Jimmy Clay also? It is from Jimmy Clay. 200 bones from the man Jimmy Clay. Showing love here on the show. Appreciate the love from my guy right there. The daily Super Chat Go, $75. $75 daily Super Chat Go right there. But before we get into topic number one of the conversation and into the show, I got to swing it to the head honcho, John Ivory. What's up with Talk Your Talk, brother?
Man, let me just say, man, this is why Jimmy Clay is the baddest donator in the game. Dropped $200, man. Appreciate that. That's why he got the jersey. He's a Heisman member. Also, if you want your jersey on the wall as well, check out the link in the description. You can become a Heisman member. There's other tiers as well. But I am John Ivory, producer of this show. Appreciate y'all for joining the chat. Let me shout some of y'all out here. We got Jarvis S in here. Jimmy Clay, of course, is here. D Brown 2020, what's going on? Naomi, what's going on? Gucci Tide is in here. Kenny Williamson, what's going on? Derek Mallard is in here. James Knox, what's going on with you? Joe is in here. We got Joe Dowdy on Facebook, what's going on with you? We also have, who else is in here? Anitra Raby is back in here. What's going on? Appreciate y'all for joining in. We got a Bill from New York is on here. Appreciate y'all for joining in. PJ Steins, Kelsey Shepard, what's going on? So appreciate y'all for joining in. Make sure y'all like the chat up, call in. And this Talk Your Talk is sponsored by Team Paper. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'm going to turn it back over to Steven.
Appreciate the head honcho, John Ivory, getting those comments, those shout-outs read right there. As always, make this your show, your network, your platform, your channel. Let the passion ooze to the chat line, ooze to the call-in phone lines, making this your conversation to talk Alabama football. Now, John, later on in the week, I think Friday, I'm going to try to see if we can get Trent Richardson on the show to talk Alabama, Arkansas. We're going to look to get Trent on for Friday, but we'll see how that goes. Also, going to try to get Justin Smith on as well to look at some recruiting aspects for this week. But we start the show off right here with this matchup against Arkansas. For the first time in the Nick Saban era at Alabama, this Arkansas matchup is very significant. This is a big game. This is a huge marquee situation here for the Crimson Tide, and that being, Alabama wins this game here this weekend, especially due to what happened last week with so many SEC teams losing, LSU falling, Texas A&M going down, Auburn going down. Alabama beats Arkansas. It clinches the SEC Western Crown, Western Division title, and it punches that ticket to Atlanta to take on Georgia in the conference championship game. This is also cool because Alabama wins this matchup in terms of Coach Saban. This will be his 9th SEC West Division title since coming to Alabama in 2007. But Alabama won the SEC West in 2008. 2009, 2012, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2018, 2020. So if it gets the win here over Arkansas. It'll be the 9th time it will clinch the SEC West. So this game has a lot of significance, a lot of big things in store here. Coach Saban wants those fans to be inside the stadium, going crazy, going wild here. It's going to be a 2:30 p.m. Central Time kick from Bryant-Denny. CBS will have the call on the matchup, but Arkansas is coming into this game with a lot of confidence. Sam Pittman has been incredible. I think the Razorbacks were very fortunate to get him, to hire him, to land him, because the Razorbacks have been one of the SEC shockers this season. I mean, 7-3 on the year. Could very well and should be 8-2. I mean, the Hogs had Ole Miss. They lost the game 52-51 in overtime, a heartbreaking loss right there. But this team should be 8-2. 7-3. Coach Pittman has come in here. He has put his hands over this program. He has built this program the right way. He has turned things around. He has changed the culture. He has infused new energy. This team believes it can beat anybody it run up on, and that's what a coach is supposed to do. You're supposed to infuse that confidence and that mindset into your team. So, Coach Pittman has been outstanding, and he's not taking the bait that everybody's been throwing out there. I know from the national perspective, the thought process is, well, Alabama's vulnerable. Alabama's not as good as it used to be. I don't see this Alabama team being a championship team. Alabama's not this. It's not that. Just not quite rocking with Alabama like we would used to rock with Alabama in terms of the national pundits, correspondents, and people out there covering the sporting news. But one reporter addressed Coach Pittman on this, and he was like, well, Coach, do you think Alabama's vulnerable? They lost a Heisman Trophy winner. They lost a lot on offense. They don't look as, menacing as they did in years past. Do you think Alabama's vulnerable? And Sam Pittman's like, no, you ain't finna get me with the okie doke. Oh, heck no. Absolutely not. No. Alabama's not vulnerable. Absolutely not. This is still Alabama. This is still an elite team with great talent. This is still a group that's got big offensive and defensive linemen. They got pass rushers, more than one. When you watch Alabama's film, it still looks like Alabama. So, Coach Pittman not going for the okie doke there in terms of the national media persona of Bama being vulnerable. But this is going to be a good football game. And for Alabama, starting off defensively, it's got a task of trying to shut down, or trying to limit, as I should say, an impressive trio when you look at Kendall Browse, K.J. Jefferson, and Traylon Burks offensively. Kendall Browse is one of the best offensive minds in the game. People look at Steve Sarkisian in that line, absolutely. People look at Lane Kiffin in that line, absolutely, as well as others. But Kendall Browse, throw his name up there also. I know people always like to put the negativity on him and his father, Art Browse, for that scandal that happened at Baylor, but we're, of course, years removed from that, and Kendall has seriously restamped his name in college football as one of the most innovative, creative, aggressive, big-style offensive minds in the sport. So when you have him crafting plays, then you got K.J. Jefferson. This is one of the fun quarterbacks in the SEC. I mean, big, strong, fast, quick, athletic, can move, accurate with the football. I think he's got 27 total touchdowns this season, 22 passing, 5 rushing. This young brother can do it all there on the field in terms of navigating and orchestrating an offense. And Alabama's defensive front, the secondary got to be ready, got to be prepared to take on this man and try to keep him out of his element of what he wants to do, on the field. Arkansas will also throw 4 different running backs at Alabama. Now it will run Jefferson as well, but it's got 4 backs that it will have in rotation to try to test the Alabama defensive front, test the Alabama linebackers. So Henry To'o, Christian Harris, another game for those two. Fight off blocks, take on blocks, fight off blocks, get to the ball, because Arkansas is going to work you. Arkansas is going to want to put you in some friction, put you in some tough situations with the offense that it has up front. And That leads us to now Traylon Burks at wide receiver. Burks is one of the most talented weapons in college football, primarily in the SEC. He's big, he's physical, he can make contested catches, he's a 50-50 guy, he can run over the middle, catch slants, catch deep post patterns, timing routes, just a big-time playmaker at that wide receiver spot at 6'2", 6'3". Coach Saban talked about it. He can be a matchup problem. He can be a matchup nightmare. So whether it's Josh Jobe going one-on-one on him, Jalen Armour-Davis going one-on-one, whomever has to take on that job, man-on-man, if Alabama has to assign a safety over there as well, whether that's DeMarco Hellams or Jordan Battle, whomever is responsible for Traylon Burks, you're going to have to watch that guy, keep an eye on that guy, cover that guy, body up on that guy, be physical with that guy, try to take him out of his element as well. Defensively for the Hogs, they've got some thumpers. You got Bumper Poole, one of the best linebackers in the SEC. You've got Hayden Henry, another very good linebacker. You got Trey Williams on the defensive line, who leads the team in sacks with 6 on the season. So Alabama's offensive line, big game for this group up front, being able to hold its own, being able to mash and maul guys and create the opportunities not only in the run game, but protecting one Bryce Young. Now, to me, the question for Bama's offensive line is which combination of guys could we see on the field for this matchup? Does it go back to what we've seen from left to right for much of the season with Evan Neal left tackle, Javion Cohan left guard, Darian Dow court center, right guard Emil Ekiyor, right tackle Chris Owens? Or do we see Chris Owens back at center with Damian George at right tackle? Do we see Tommy Brown at left guard like we saw last week? And he actually did a pretty solid job there at that position. What will be the combination that Nick Saban and offensive line coach Doug Marrone, what will they go with up front facing this Arkansas front? Like I said, these guys can hit. They're thumpers. They're nasty. They're gritty. They're scrappy. They're tough. They get after you on the defensive side of the ball, taking after the toughness and mentality of not just head coach Sam Pittman, but also defensive coordinator Barry Odom, who's done a fine job at Arkansas coming over there from Missouri from his time there as a head coach. But one of the cool things, John, about Arkansas is both of these two teams have had some close matchups in the past under Coach Saban. And I go back to 2010. I mean, my goodness, remember that game? How fun that was with Ryan Mallett as Arkansas's quarterback. Alabama had Greg McElroy. I mean, the Tide got a 24-20 win. That game was a heart attack of a game. If not for Robert Lester getting a pick at the end, who knows what would have happened? If that was Robert Lester or Dre Kirkpatrick. I want to say it was Lester, but it was probably Kirkpatrick, but that was 2010. And of course, 2014, the first year with Lane Kiffin, Alabama went up to Donald Reynolds Razorback Stadium, DWR Razorback Stadium in Fayetteville, and it was rain, monsoon, horrid weather, soaked field, mud everywhere, not the friendliest field conditions. Alabama got a 14-13 win where Landon Collins game-sealing pick at the end for the tie, and then the following season, 2015, back at Bryant-Denny, Arkansas held a 3-0 lead for much of that game. And then, Jacob Coker said, screw this, enough is enough. He hooks up with Calvin Ridley for a big touchdown. Alabama ultimately pulled away 27-14 against the Hogs. So that's just a few of those games that were really close in years past. And of course, 2007, now this game's been vacated, but 2007, we remember Coach Saban's first year. Bryant-Denny got the 41-38 win over Arkansas. John Parker Wilson to Matt Caddell to win the game. Big play there at the end. So we have seen some matchups, we have seen some games, we have seen some situations in the past where both of these two teams get together. It's a close game, it's a tough game, it's a gritty game, and normally a pretty intriguing finish. So this one right here at Bryant-Denny this weekend, Alabama SEC West crown and an opportunity to punch that ticket to play Georgia in Atlanta on the line against a fun, a scrappy, a much improved Arkansas team on both sides of the ball. Should be a fun matchup there. We take our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. We're just getting started. Upon our return, we go to the phone lines to take your calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your chats, your conversations. We interact with you, the Tide faithful, after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up.
This is Matt Caddell, former Alabama wide receiver, and you're listening to In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith with Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And I got two words to say, baby. Roll Tide.
9 players have teamed up and released the Alabama Team Paper, which is a video yearbook they've put out for sale direct to fans. Now, for the first time, small dollar purchases from the fans can support the players as a group as well as a great cause, because $1 of every subscription payment is donated to the Boys and Girls Club of America. Be a 5-star fan base and support your team and a great cause with Team Paper. Check it out at teampaper.com/Alabama.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
As we are back into the action here, folks, from the break on the number one forum for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine on a Wednesday hump day. Appreciate everybody for checking us out on today. A pretty cool comment there in the chat line, basically saying, Stephen, we appreciate the insight there on Kendall Browse. Yes, Kendall Browse came from Baylor. He had a good career as the offensive coordinator at Baylor. Of course, that scandal came in, and he and his dad were kind of lumped into that. But ever since then, Kendall has escaped that situation, and he has re-stamped and re-cemented his name as one of the best offensive minds in college football. But I got a couple of super chats to get to you guys. We got my man Jovi Hendricks with that $19.99 in the super chats. Appreciate the love there from Jovi Hendricks. And my man Bill, Big Bill from New York, that 501 in the super chats, helping us out here on the show, showing love. Appreciate you guys. We go to the phone lines right now to take your calls. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. Number to call in right there, 205-448-1358. We start off with this call right here. You're live on the show tonight. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you're calling from.
Hey, Steven, this is Corey from Trustful. How are you doing tonight?
Corey, I am doing outstanding, brother. How are you?
I'm doing great. I was listening to Saban's press conference, and he didn't seem very happy tonight. What are your thoughts on that and the ways Alabama's been practicing this week, and how do you think it will translate into the game this week?
Well, I got a chance, Corey, to see a little bit of the updates from the Saban press conference, and you're right. He did not seem particularly happy. He talked about some of the guys had the poor me mentality out there on the field, and this was the same thing Coach Saban was mentioning early on in the season. You got to push through those mental barriers. You got to push through all the mental stuff, whether it's too hot, too cold, too warm, doesn't matter. You got to push through stuff if you want to be a champion this late here, in the game, because this is where that championship football starts. Now, prior to today, I thought the practices have been really solid, really well. So not quite sure what got into the guys today to have Saban make this type of statement. So hopefully they get that thing cleaned up Thursday in walkthroughs, Friday in walkthroughs also prior to facing Arkansas, because the Razorbacks, they're going to come in here ready to play.
I would agree, because Arkansas is going to try to ugly this game up and make this a low-scoring game, and Alabama can't take them lightly, and because, like you said, they're going to come ready to play, and I think if Alabama I would say this. If Alabama can get out there and jump out there early and make Arkansas uncomfortable, that's where I think things can get out of hand. But if Arkansas makes Alabama play their kind of game, make it a slow, ugly game, I think that's where Alabama could be in trouble. But I think Alabama can win it convincingly if we jump out early.
Absolutely, Corey. Appreciate Corey from Trustville starting us out with that phone call. Absolutely. I feel like, Arkansas, they can play a slow game, but with KJ Jefferson, they can also go fast. So it just depends on what would be the mindset of Kendall Browse with his play calling and what does Coach Sam Pittman want to do. But we take this call right here. You're live on the show on a Wednesday hump day. What's going on? How are we feeling? State your name and where you calling from. You're live on the show calling.
Stephen, this is Jim Gallagher out of Dallas, Texas.
Jim, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fine. How about you?
Man, I cannot complain, man. We got Arkansas this week. Bama wins. It faces Georgia in the SEC title game. So, big matchup right here.
Yes, sir, you're right. I've been watching Alabama football for many, many years. In fact, I played baseball at Alabama back in from 59 to 63, graduating in 63.
That is awesome.
Yes, sir. I've been looking at this particular team, and I've got about three things that kind of concern me a little bit. Right from the beginning, I picked it up on it, and it's same as it was at the beginning. It starts with the offensive line, especially on the right side. They need to start leaning on people. Sometimes I can't tell whether they're run blocking or pass blocking. Offensive line in the running game, you need to push people off the ball and drive them down the field, give your running back a little room to run the ball. And they're not doing that. They're just stalemate there on the line, and that's the problem with the running game, I think. Plus the fact that we don't have a real breakaway threat. B-Rob's a good possession runner, but he's not a breakaway threat that can reel off a 20-yard downfield runs and break a game open. He's just not that type of runner, and we don't have one. And that I've seen. I kind of like the idea of putting Milroe in there and let him try him out a little bit, maybe in the Wildcat or something like that. And the other thing is the defensive secondary. They've been inconsistent all year. I know they play a lot of man coverage, but they're inconsistent on the deep ball and the throws over the middle. And that could be linebacker, defensive back, whatever. They just don't seem consistent on from game to game, no matter what the quality of the team they're playing. The only full game they played, I think, all year is Mississippi State.
Absolutely. And Jim, I definitely agree with that. Now, I know for the offensive line, part of that, or some of that, is having Doug Marrone come over from the NFL. I think he's brought over a new blocking scheme with him, and that's kind of been tough for the offensive line because prior to Doug Marrone, Alabama had Kyle Flood. Kyle Flood has been strictly college football. So he knows college football, college schemes, college tendencies, and I felt like that really helped the group last year that won the Joe Moore Award and helped the offense become one of the most explosive offenses in college football. With Doug Marrone, you're bringing over a different scheme altogether. It's an NFL scheme, and a lot of these guys not used to that. So it's taking some time for them to get to learn that. But at the same time, they got to get more consistent. Defense has got to build that consistency also. Appreciate Jim for calling in. We grab this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, man, I'm feeling pretty good, man. This is Lowe calling from Atlanta, man. I just want to say, the offensive line, it definitely could use some work, for sure. But personally, I definitely think Bill O'Brien could call much better plays. The few games I've seen us, where Bryce was under a lot of pressure, I mean, basically teams were sending a simple blitz, and he didn't have a quick slant play or a screen or a halfback draw. It's so many things you could do to help your offensive line, and I don't think he's doing a good job helping the offensive line. Obviously, they're struggling, so you have to help them out. I do think the defensive line is peaking right at the right time, and we definitely needed that. And everybody wants to talk about the blown coverages, and I understand that, and we've gotten better at it. But with the defensive line peaking, that will help the blown coverages as well, because you won't pay attention to them as much. Because one thing about it, I watch Georgia every single week. Everybody's on Georgia's bandwagon. That's fine. But I've watched games of Georgia. They also have blown coverages. The difference is their line is getting pressure, so the quarterbacks that they're playing aren't able to make the throws. But I think we'll be in pretty good shape, coming down the stretch. I do think that we're peaking right now, and I actually want to give Pete Golden a little love because, I think our defense has actually played a little better. But, I just want to say I appreciate you for taking my call, my man. I listen to your show all the time. Keep doing the good work, my man.
Appreciate the call that my man out of Atlanta giving his thoughts here on the Crimson Tide offensively and defensively. 205-448-1358, the number right there, 205-448-1358. Shifting to this topic, and this one's on Will Anderson, Alabama sophomore outside linebacker. The brother is a finalist. He's been announced a finalist for the Bronco Nagurski Trophy that goes to the best defensive player in college football, and Anderson deserves it. 23 tackles for loss this year, 12 and a half sacks, an absolute menace, getting to every single quarterback, dropping every guy he sees. Should get some serious consideration to be on the Heisman ballot. And should be on the Heisman ballot, even though he may say, my only focus is the Natty right now. We're trying to get to this Natty. The Natty is my only focus. I still think Will Anderson should be on the Heisman ballot because of what he's meant here to the defense and to this football team. The last Alabama player to win the Bronco Nagurski honor was Jonathan Allen back in 2016. So the Tide could get its second Bronco Nagurski Award winner this year, should Will Anderson be able to take that home. But kudos to him for being named a finalist. Guys, shout out my man Jovi Hendricks again. Hendricks, let's see what we got here for Hendricks. We got that is that $19.99 again? Another that's $9.99. $9.99 there for Jovi Hendricks. Appreciate the love coming from him. And then Jimmy Clay is back in here again. Jimmy Clay with a $31 donation. A $31 donation from the man Jimmy Clay. But we got to take a call here before we go to break. We take this call here. You're live on the show. What's going on? How we feeling? State your name, where you're calling from.
Thomas Reed, calling from Georgia.
What's on your mind, my man?
And hey, I'd like to say a lot of people are passing up because of stats. Defensive player Jordan Davis from Georgia. He is the biggest interrupter in college football today, and I think that man is being overlooked. He is huge. He is a complete he disrupts everything, and he makes other players get the sacks, get the loss for gain tackles. And I think that man's being overlooked, number one. Number two, I know this is a Alabama place, but I want to hear your opinion about how Alabama is going to stop the Georgia 3 tight end runs or plays, I should say. How are you guys going to do that? And just just out of curiosity, because those guys with Brock Bowers and the rest of those other tight ends, I mean, Alabama has shown a lot of weakness around between 10 and 30 yards out. They've shown a lot of weakness this year by stopping that pass. I'd love to hear your opinion.
Appreciate my man Tom calling in from Georgia there. So starting this thing off with big defensive lineman there. he's having a good year. I mean, he is having an exceptional year, and the guy's going to be a top 10. He's going to be a top 5, top 10 pick. He's going to be a first-round pick. I mean, even though he may not be getting a lot of a national talk, I'm pretty sure the NFL scouts are saying, forget what the national people are saying. This guy's a first rounder. This guy's a top 10, top 15 guy. Let's get this guy right now. So as long as he knows that the NFL people, the NFL executives, coaches, scouts, they know what he is and what he can do, and that's all he should be cared about, just making sure he's a first-round pick. Now, as far as Georgia with the 3 tight end sets here, 3 tight end looks, that's interesting because Bowers is good, and you got Washington, who's a really good tight end. They've got some guys. They got Conklin, who's pretty good. Not Conklin, but they got 3 of them. I know Washington and Bowers are the main 2. What Alabama can do here in this game, they're going to have to be disciplined, whether it's the linebackers, whether it's the secondary with DeMarco Helms and Jordan Battle. You got to play discipline. You got to stay at home. You got to defend and be in motion there with those guys and play those guys, because those guys, they catch the ball, they block well, they run clean routes. But this is the reason why you got Arkansas first and you got Auburn after that, to get yourself more prepared. So when you get to Georgia and you face those 3 tight ends, you're putting yourself in a much better scenario, much better situation. But appreciate Tom from Georgia for that call. For all callers on the phone lines, hold for the next 10 minutes, or you can call back. But if you're going to hold on through for these next 10 minutes here, we're going to get back to you guys after this segment here. We're going to go to break right now. When we get back, I want to get into Bryce Young. There's not enough conversation going on about the true incredible season that Bryce Young is having right now. We'll touch on it after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, people, we're back in from the break. I'm number 1 form for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine on a Wednesday hump day. Happy to have all of you guys checking us out on today. Bama, Arkansas, Saturday, 2:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff, Bryant-Denny Stadium. CBS will have the call. A win for the Crimson Tide punches its ticket to the SEC championship game for a showdown with Georgia. But as we're back in here, just got to look at Bryce Young. There's not enough conversation on the incredible year that he is having right now. Like he is having a big season as a first-year starter for the Crimson Tide, as a sophomore from California, former 5-star prospect in the 2020 class. And to me, I am always reminded of the analogy that Bucky Brooks of NFL Network that he likes to give, and it's the trucks versus trailers analogy. The trucks are the quarterbacks that they pull the team. They pull the team. They've got to bail the team out. They've got to make big plays, big throws, big possessions, big reads. Coaches are depending on that quarterback, that truck, to really carry the team through. It's got to carry the team through. And sometimes those quarterbacks have to overcompensate for the deficiencies or the weaknesses of the team. versus the trailers of whom the trailers are good quarterbacks, but sometimes those trailers, the team has to pull them more times than not. The offensive coordinator or the offensive-minded head coach has to call a perfect game plan, has to script perfect plays. It's got to work around some things because the trailers, they have limitations at the quarterback position. There are some things that they cannot, that they don't necessarily do well. So you have to mask that. You have to scheme around that. You have to play call around that. And it's a different sort of atmosphere there when you look at having a guy that you know what he can do and he can literally carry that team and put you over the top versus that guy that you have to create kind of some smoke and mirrors for in terms of helping him achieve the goals that you want him to achieve as far as the team. So where Bryce is concerned, this guy's a truck. This guy has been carrying, Alabama all year long. And when you discuss Bryce versus Mac Jones and Tua Tagovailoa here for just a moment, Bryce has had to do more with less, if you will, and he's done a tremendous job of that. Tua and Mac had a higher offensive coordinator, better offensive line play, more tried and true guys at wide receiver, and then last but not least, a hurdling running back in Najee Harris in the backfield at their disposal versus Bryce Young. Bryce had to deal with an up and down patchwork alteration changes on the offensive line. He's had to deal with an offensive coordinator in Bill O'Brien that's been inconsistent at times with the play calling. He's had to deal with wide receivers who at times have dropped passes. And despite all of this, Bryce has been able to kind of overcompensate for it and still say, Coach, I can bail us out. Coach, I can get us through. Coach, I can make the big plays. Coach, put the team on my back. I will put the team on my back and carry us to where we need to get to. You look at Young has been in 3 hostile environments this season. The 4th one's coming up later next week in the Iron Bowl at Jordan-Hare Stadium against Auburn. But he goes down to the Swamp at Gainesville, Florida. He goes down to Kyle Field, College Station, Texas. He goes down to Davis Wade Stadium in Starkville, Mississippi. All 3 crazy atmospheres. If it was not for Bryce, Alabama possibly loses that game to Florida in the Swamp. Despite the loss to Texas A&M, Bryce ripped the football. Bryce made some huge throws, some huge plays, got some huge possessions, huge yards. He had some marquee moments out there on the field. At one point, got Alabama the lead in the 4th quarter, but unfortunately the defense just could not quite hold on to it. But, Bryce, huge moments there for him. And then against Mississippi State, and the Cowbells there had a big game there as well. So he's been able to go down into these crazy, hostile environments, cool, calm, collected, composed, got the team on his back there making plays. And Bryce Young is quickly, despite all of the offensive deficiencies or inconsistencies we've seen, he is rising up on the Alabama single-season record books right now. So Young is the 6th 3,000-yard passer of the Nick Saban era, 3,025 yards. He is there with A.J. McCarron, Blake Sims, Jacob Coker, Tua Tagovailoa, and Mac Jones. Now, the 3,025 passing yards for Bryce, he is 5th. If I'm not mistaken, he is 5th. He's tied for 5th all-time, 4th, 5th all-time in that area right there in terms of single season. His 33 touchdown passes, he is tied for 3rd with Tua Tagovailoa for the 2019 season. In that regard, he also has 35 total touchdowns. As far as touchdowns responsible for, he is either 5th or 6th there in that aspect as well. When you look at just the impressive numbers that Bryce has put up in Alabama this season, this is a young man that's got 5 games with a quarterback rating of at least 90. He's got 5 to 6 games with completing 70% of his passes or higher. He's got 6 games with at least 300 plus passing yards. He's got 7 games where he's thrown for 3+ touchdowns. So this is pure consistency here coming from Bryce. When you look at the national spectrum here, his completion percentage, which is 70.9%, he is 7th in the nation in that area. He is 3rd for touchdowns, 33 among quarterbacks. He is 3rd for passer rating at 180.1. He is 3rd for total QBR, quarterback rating, 86.9. I mean, the only area where he is not in the top 10 is passing yards, and he's just outside that at number 12. So when you look at what Bryce has done with having to still be dynamic, even with inconsistent play calling at times, still be dynamic with the up and down performances of the offensive line, still be dynamic with receivers dropping passes. He's a truck. He is carrying this team. And, Bryce this year, 44.6%. Alabama's averaging 44.6 points per game. This is what Bryce Young is helping this team do. That is top 10 in all of offense in college football. You look at total offense, Alabama's averaging 484.6 yards per game. That's number 10 in college football. Alabama 94% in the red zone. That is 6th in all of college football. Young is doing a phenomenal job. And yes, he may have not had the Heisman moment just yet. Possibly it comes against Arkansas, maybe Auburn, maybe Georgia. It could come at any given moment. But I think just for all that he has had to endure and overcome and still keep Alabama not only in the forefront to win a national championship, but the numbers he's been able to put up despite all of the inconsistencies, I think that's Heisman worthy. I think that's Heisman big time. And while it would be really cool to see Will Anderson win the Heisman, it would be special to see Will get this done. We have seen a lot of defensive players for Alabama win national awards, but U.S. fans have been waiting to see when can we get that Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. When can we finally say, hey, Bama's quarterback, you also, in terms of getting that coveted bronze award, winning the Heisman Trophy. Bryce Young has himself right there as the front runner, as the leader, square out there in front of the race here for the Heisman Trophy. But I just wanted to give some kudos there to Bryce. Not a lot of people are really diving into how impressive this season is when you talk about all that Alabama lost to the NFL draft from last year's offense and replacing Steve Sarkisian with Bill O'Brien, and Bryce is still able to matriculate, and not just matriculate, dominate and put up jaw-dropping numbers here for this campaign. We're going to go to a break here, folks, on the show. Don't touch that dial. When we get back, we jump back into the phone lines to take your calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your texts, your chats, your conversations. Coming right after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith. Brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com now to get your 4-finger bling necklace.
What's up, Bama Nation? This is Rudy Griffin, former Alabama defensive lineman, and you're listening to my guy, Stephen M. Smith, In My Own Words, brought to you by Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Roll Tide, roll!
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to WhitwellSports.com and get your Title Towel today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
We are back into the mix here on a Wednesday, hump day of a #1 form for Bama Football news, in my own words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, touchdown, Alabama Magazine. Now, I remember looking through some betting lines, some betting odds, and Bryce Young had the highest betting odds the last time I checked for the Heisman. If C.J. Stroud of Ohio State has overtaken him at this point, please let me know. Stroud's had a good year. C.J. Stroud has had a good year. I'm just saying, when I've watched the last few betting odds prior to today, Bryce was number one on those betting odds. But if things have changed, definitely let me know. Still, Bryce is in a good spot here to try to get that Heisman Trophy. We got to shout out Mechanic, who has that $100 donation, putting it in the bag, helping us out here on the show. Showing love, appreciate Mechanic right there. Behind him, we got Gucci Tide, dropping in that $5 donation, helping us out as well. Behind Gucci Tide, it's $5 donation. He actually had a $10 donation as well. So $15 for Gucci Tide, helping us out here on the show. And then how about the man PJ Steins with that $9.99 in the Super Chats, helping us out, showing love. Appreciate all of you guys making this your show, your network, your channel right here. We go to the phone lines to take your calls. Call statement brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358, 205-448-1358, the number right there. We grab a call here. You're live on the show. What's happening? What's going on? State your name and where you're calling from.
Hey, what's up, Steven? How you doing, man? This is Sean from Huntsville.
My brother Sean, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. How you been? You been good?
Been good, man. Been good. We got Bama, Arkansas, man. You got to look at KJ Jefferson and slowing down Arkansas.
Facts, man. All facts. Real quick, I wanted to give, Bryce all the credit in the world. And we got to remember this guy is doing this with a line that's giving up 25 sacks at this point. It's only two other teams in the SEC that gave up more sacks this year to this point than us. This guy's doing this, running for his life pretty much most of the time. Got the chance to look up some Arkansas players, and bro, their team is talking, bro. They're confident in seeing how we struggled in LSU. They're confident in seeing how we struggled at Texas A&M. So my I'm gonna be watching for if we have those busted coverages. I'm praying we don't struggle with teams with pre-snap motion. This team runs a lot of pre-snap motion, so I'm praying that our safeties get their mind right. I'm going to be watching our middle linebackers for gap integrity because their quarterback will keep the ball. And I'm hoping for that we get the screen game going. They're going to blitz us, try to get Bryce off of his spot. So I'm hoping we get the screen game going. I'm hoping they keep right tackle. I think his name is Damian George. I hope they keep George at right tackle. And I'm hoping we get the run game going, man. If we do those things, we'll be fine. This game is going to be very important to see if we still have those struggles. 10, 11 games? 10 games in, I think?
Right.
So let's see if we have these struggles. Those are my hopes. Those are my watch for. I appreciate you taking my call as always, and I'll listen and continue to support.
Absolutely, Sean from Huntsville right now. Sean, we actually have your picture here, so the next time that you call in, we'll have your picture with your name live on screen featuring you coming to the show. But absolutely appreciate Sean from Huntsville calling in, showing the love here, giving his thoughts here on the show. We take this call here. You're live on the show on a Wednesday. What's happening? What's going on? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
Yeah, my name's Mike. I'm calling from Staten Island, big Bama fan, I just want to say, I heard you talk about the defense, and I think what you don't take into account, something Texas, by the way, could never do, is that, what was that young guy last year? He threw 1,488 passing yards. You know what I mean? You look at the top dozen teams, you got 13% are doing more than 50% of the scores. You know what I'm saying? These young bloods are coming in, making a difference.
They are.
Steven.
I feel you.
Exactly. Yeah, I love the energy you bring. I used to go down to the colored church down the street. It's like a black sermon in here. I'm loving it. Let me grab another Moscato. I'll be right back.
Hey, do your thing, man. Do you think I got my man from Staten Island tuning in? He hyped up. He ready to go. Appreciate all you guys checking us out here on the show. We grabbed this call. You're live on the show tonight on a Wednesday. What's happening? State your name and where you calling from.
Hey, Steven, it's Jackson from Georgia. I just wanted to say, after that first call you took from Tom from Georgia, talking about this Alabama place and trying to call in to get inside info, I'm just saying, seems a little fishy. I think you got Kirby Smart calling into your show. So Kirby, I know you're watching right now. Look, there's nothing you can do. You can watch Steven all you want, but you're not going to be able to bring down the Crimson Tide. So roll Tide, Steven. Thanks for what you're doing. Have a happy night.
Appreciate Jackson from Georgia calling in there. I wonder, is Kirby Smart wiretapping the show? John, keep an eye on that wiretap. I don't know if Kirby's got us on here yet, but I don't. Hey, we shall see. We continue taking the calls right now. 205-448-1358. Number to call in, 205-448-1358. We grab this call here. You're live on the show. What's happening? How we feeling? State your name and where you calling from.
It's Easy from Selma.
How we feeling, my man?
Good. How you feeling, man? How you feeling?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm good, man. You got Alabama, Arkansas this week. Bama trying to win that SEC West. What's on your mind, man?
Man, that's the least of my worries right there. We're going to steamroll them boys. But what I am worried about is our defense. Daniel Wright, Helms, and Toa. It's too many missed assignments, too many missed tackles, and it's just lack of effort to me. I wish they'll put the headhunter Jalen Moody in there.
I mean, you've been saying, my man, a lot of things that a lot of other people have been saying. I mean, get Jalen Moody out there. I mean, can we see some more of Shane? I mean, Shane Lee had a half a sack last week, and people thought he had dropped off the face of the earth, but Shane Lee still very much so alive. Christian Harris has been stepping up, but I do agree, Daniel Wright, DeMarco Helms, you got to be all the way locked into the matchup in the football game. Absolutely.
More than just Will Anderson, man. It got to be an effort as a team. It got to. But Bryce Young been performing well. He looks a little hesitant at times, but he's been performing well. He's going to be a Heisman winner. And our line has just got to get better. But it's going to be a process, and we'll be ready for Georgia.
Absolutely. Appreciate my man Easy calling out of Selma. Easy, close to my hometown of Marion. Appreciate Easy there for that call. Absolutely. We got to check out my man Willie351 with that 777 in the super chats. Willie351 helping us out here on the show, showing that donation, showing love to us here. Now, on my end, going back to something that Easy had said, Will Anderson's dominating absolutely, but Dallas Turner's growing. Dallas Turner's becoming a man. These last few games, 15, the freshman from Florida has been ripping it up. Drew Sanders had a sack last week. He's continuing to get healthier from the hand injury he suffered against Ole Miss. Chris Braswell can play out there. He's disruptive. He's balling, number 41. So there are guys on this defense that are starting to peak and play well at the right time, but I do agree with you have to have consistency across the board. Consistency from the line, from the linebackers, and also from the secondary. So this game against Arkansas, another week where can it build another game? Can it stack another game on top of these recent two in terms of getting toward that championship push there? We're going to go to a quick topic right here, and this topic is one on Pete Golding. Alabama defensive coordinator Pete Golding has been nominated. He is on the ballot for the Frank Broyles Award, which goes to the nation's top assistant coach in college football. Now, remember, John, when I wrote the story on this for TDA, a lot of people were saying, is this a joke? Is this really a joke? Is Pete Golding really on the ballot? Is he really nominated for the Frank Broyles Award? Yes, he is. Pete Golding right there. So, he's had some good moments this year. Pete Golding's had some good moments this year. Yes, there are still some parts of you that think, but can he be elite, though? Yes, there's still those moments where it still lingers in your mind. Can he be elite, though? Can he be dynamic, though? Can he be the next level play caller? And there's still a lot of doubt there, and the jury is still definitely out there. But he is nominated for the Broyles Award, nation's top assistant coach. Alabama has had 3 guys to win the Broyles Award in years past. Kirby Smart in 2009, Michael Loxley 2018, Steve Sarkisian last season. Will Golding be the 4th one? We shall see, but he is on the ballot. PDP is on the ballot for the Broyles Award. We take our break here right now. People, don't touch that dial. When we get back, we look at this Alabama team. It's talking about it has shifted to a championship mindset. Is this team a championship team? Can this team become a championship team with the last remaining games? We'll discuss it after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All Bama sneakers today.
Look at all these great players in Touchdown Alabama magazine. Man, wait till I turn up this year. I'm gonna be on the front cover. But what if Will goes off? Or Joe, DeMarco, Chris, Tim, Christian.
Don't wait. Order now at touchdownalabama.com or call 833-483-2624 today.
Christian.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
All right, folks, we're back in from the break, rocking and rolling on a Wednesday, hump day, number one form for your Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama magazine. We appreciate you for making this your show, your channel, your network, your platform, your stop shop for all things Alabama football entertainment. And you writing in, calling in, chatting in, donating in to the show. But before we get into final topic of conversation, got to remind you guys, tdawear.com. That's tdawear.com. So for all of you fans still overjoyed with the Crimson Tide's national championship from the 2020 campaign, we want you to check out our championship collection merch. This means you grab you an 18 of them things, folk, hoodie, t-shirt, or sweatshirt, as well as our Got 18 We Do shirts. Designs that feature all 18 championship years on the back. You head over to tdawear.com. Do it right now. tdawear.com. You go over the Championship Collections merch tab, and you get you that gear today. Show them that support for Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at Touchdown Alabama magazine. But man, we look at this Alabama team, and players spoke on Tuesday about it has shifted to a championship mindset. Alabama shifting to a championship mindset. Got to play championship ball. Got to do championship things. Got to perform how champions perform. And the thought process is this a championship team? Can this be a championship team? Will it be a championship team in the making? Those are all the questions here that we look at, because back in the preseason, all thoughts pointed to this defense is going to be rock 'em, sock 'em, take their soul from them, stick them in the dirt, rip their heart from them, that type of defense. And while offensively, we knew Alabama had talent, had playmakers, had guys, but the question was, with all the talent lost to the NFL and then having to replace Steve Sarkisian with Bill O'Brien, how would that work? How would that mesh? How would that sort of figure out right there? So there have been some different questions we've had to address ourselves with, but we've gotten to the point of a season where you got to play your best ball at the right time. You got to play your best ball late. Championship teams peak late. National title teams peak late. Teams that form and gel together at the right time, at the opportune time, can run the table. And on Tuesday, we had Will Anderson and Jalen Armour-Davis speak to reporters, and both defensive players said, "Hey, this team's a championship team. Now we're shifting in the championship form. We are growing into a championship mindset. We are becoming a team They can do what championship teams do. They can do what the big dogs do in terms of handling that business, having that focus, having that goal, and executing, closing in, mastering that goal. And Jagan Armour Davis said something intriguing. He mentioned how this team is starting to have fun. That's what championship teams do, especially on defense. They have fun. They bond together. They celebrate together. They hang out together. They're in tune with each other. There's a connection, a chemistry, a tangible energy being felt. And now you're kind of starting to see that a little bit from this Alabama team. Early on in the season, you didn't see all of that much celebration on defense. You didn't see all of that rah-rah and pumping up and picking each other up and dancing and all of this stuff early on in the season with the defense. You're starting to kind of see this now with if a cornerback makes a big play, you got a defensive lineman, a linebacker chest bumping them, celebrating, energy on the sideline, jumping, yelling, screaming, pumping, all that's happening. Cornerback makes a big play. You're starting to see if Alabama gets a fumble recovery, a linebacker or a defensive lineman, you're starting to see chest bumps, handshakes, dances, movements, celebration, all of it's happening. When a defensive lineman gets a sack, you're starting to see those things where it's a team coming together. It's a band of brothers recognizing we bros, we brothers, we kin, we tight, let's get this thing rocking. Let's get this thing going the way that we need to. And in years past, teams like that won championships in Alabama. That 2009 team was a band of brothers. Everybody hung together. Everybody rolled with everybody. And it was if one person made a big play, we're going to celebrate with Big Dog. We're going to celebrate with Big Homie because that contagious energy is going to infiltrate throughout the entire team. The 2011 team felt the same way. 2012 team felt the same way. The 2015 through the 2015 and 2017 national championship teams, those got so contagious where, the defense was scoring touchdowns. You had pick sixes. You had fumble returns for touchdowns. It was, hey, not only are we going to celebrate you getting the interception, you getting the fumble recovery, you getting the strip sack, we going to block for you and help you take this thing back to the crib one time, you heard me? And once you get back to the crib, we're going to celebrate even more with you. The 2020 team, later on in that season last year, those guys gelled together, those guys formed together, those guys bonded together. So this is good. Hearing this from Will Anderson, who's been preaching this all season, hearing this from Jagan Armour Davis during Tuesday's player interviews, this is good. Seeing these guys gel together, form together, coming together as a team at the right time and having fun as a team at the right time. The big thing here for me is, as much as I do want to say this team is coming in the championship form, as much as I want to say this, I got to hold myself because of one aspect, the offensive line. The offensive line is the one area that's got to gel in. The offensive line is the one area that has to punch its card in, because if the offensive line can punch its card in consistently and we get a rotation of guys, left tackle, right tackle, as I should say, left guard to right tackle, because Evan Neal, big man, is doing his job. So if we can get a rotation from left guard to right tackle that can be consistently out there, not just protecting for Bryce Young in pass pro, but also mauling, mashing guys and run blocking, and making this offense truly balanced and truly formidable, as we know it can be. If the offensive line can do that, then I can see this group being in championship form, because that's what it's going to take to beat Arkansas. That's what it's going to take to beat Auburn. That's what it's going to take to beat Georgia. That's what it's going to take to win a national championship, is this offensive line coached by Doug Marrone rounding into shape, rounding into form. To me, that's the one area that's kind of giving me concern here. Defensively, I think this team will continue to get better and better and better. They're starting to lock in. The blown coverages will be fixed up. Guys will be able to take on blocks, shed blocks, attack the ball carrier, attack whoever has the football. I think the defense will be fine. I think the defense will round into form. That's not an issue with me. My issue is these big men up front. That's my issue. Can the big man up front create that balance, run game, get your hands on guys, drive them in the ground in the run game? Can these big men up front have that pass protection where Bryce Young has that time to deliver the football accurately like he's been doing for the most part? So that's my whole thing. There's the offensive line. The offensive line gels together, and this is a championship team coming into form here. But it's good to see the players talk about it. It's good to see it starting to become the picture on Saturdays for game day, but got to continue to have that happen. Got to continue to stockpile on that consistency. But as always, people, you want the best in news, notes, information, and coverage on your favorite program, that being the Alabama Crimson Tide. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store. If you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you got the Android phone. For your audio listening needs, we got you taken care of. iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I'll be back on Friday continuing the conversation that is Bama football. Remember, Tide fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Have those sent to your door. That link in the description. If you're also trying to get that fresh edition, print edition of TDA the magazine, you can do that by going to touchdownalabama.com. You click join, become a member, a subscriber today. That link in the description as well. Also, if you're trying to get that 4-finger bling necklace, 4-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of our guys at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com, that link in the description also. Got to shout out Willie351 with that 125 in the super chats, and people, give yourself a hand. $400, 400 big ones. We did it, baby. We did it, baby. We did it as a family. We did it as a family, making this your show, our platform, our network, our channel, talking about Crimson Tide football. Thanks to all of you, Blue Ridge Gang, all the donators, all the super chats, all the calls, all the tweets, all the chats, all the texts. You guys just don't know how much John, myself, how much we value this, man, how much we appreciate this, man, because all we try to do is give you what you crave, what you want, and that's 3 days a week talking Crimson Tide football. So how you reciprocate that love to us, it does not go unnoticed. It does not go unthanked whatsoever. We appreciate every last one of you guys. But as always, people, husbands love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children, continue doing the right thing, fun thing, smart thing, legitimate thing to not be bored. You grab you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. You protect yourself. You protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks. And we got Justin Riley with that $4.99 in the super chats. Appreciate the big man, Justin Riley, for the love right there. Until next time, folks. I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith. You've been listening to In My Own Words. Holla at you.